All right, so I just need to know how Hulk Hogan was actually a racist. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of people say Hulk Hogan, even though he was a racist, still, Hulk Hogan, they got to qualify their, dismay of Hulk Hogan died by saying, even though he's a racist, but still, I don't like his racism, blah, 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 blah. And I actually have somebody who's I would consider a friend of mine, and she posted that, whoa, she's a flight attendant, and she said the Hulk Hogan was an ass. And I said, well, could he have changed? And she said, no. I said, well, wasn't he born again? Because a lot of us people, I was an ass. Let's just put this way. I never was mean to flight attendants or janitors or anyone, quote, below me, unquote, if you want to say it like that. Never like that. But sometimes I could not be a good person. So I'm sure there are people out there that said you were an ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure I have old girlfriends, for instance, who say I was an ass. I'm sure I guarantee. I probably still be called an ass. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Those are the people who just can't laugh at good quality humor, which I have, of course. But anyway, so if Hulk Hogan's racism is based solely on a private conversation he had with, I don't know, somebody, where he said the horrible, dreaded N-word, and that's it, that's not racism, man. I'm sorry. That's not racism. And you don't get to label the guy a racist if that's all you got. So there's a guy on Facebook, the lady who posted about Hulk Hogan being an ass. Dude, I get that. I 100% get he probably could be. I mean, I think some of these freaking mainstream entertainers are look at Oprah Winfrey. Talk about racist ass. No one will go down saying when she dies that she was a racist, though, even though she was or is explicitly. And she's an ass. We know that for sure because she freaking tromps on the rights of poor or white people who are serving her in Europe. And just look it up. Now, can she be born again and change and all that? Yeah, absolutely. Hulk Hogan, it seemed like he came and found Jesus in his life in the latter part of his years, the last, couple years. So if that's true, then that's an experience to say, look, you can still come back from the dead spiritually. Jesus allows that, to come back from the dead spiritually, and you should be not only like Paul. Was Paul an ass? Paul was a murderer. Where he advocated the murder of people following the way, unequivocally. Remember St. Stephen, who held the jacket for the Jews who were killing St. Stephen? It's Paul. So do we say Paul was an ass? Paul was a racist? Paul was this, that, and the other? Yeah, we do. Paul said it himself. But Paul actually did things that were like that. Did Hulk Hogan do anything else than utter the N-word in a private conversation? So that means you're branded a racist for life because you ever utter the N-word? Then hell's bells, dude. We're all racist. We might as well just start uttering the dreaded N-word because this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous that someone gets branded. Now, look, so anyway, this guy posted, he said, oh, I met him 1,000,000 times and he was always an ass. And then he posted, and a racist. And I said, oh, well, are you black? I'm curious what he did that was racist. He goes, I'm not sure what being black has to do with anything. I said, because you said he was racist. I assume that he treated you poorly solely because you were black. And I don't even know if this guy's black or not. My presumption is he's probably not, but I don't know. So I said, if he's black and he served Hulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan was a dick to him solely because he's black, then yes, a racist he is. Hulk Hogan was born in Augusta, Georgia. So he's born in the deep South in the 50s, probably 40s, 50s probably, something like that. Yeah, I guess 50s. So he probably has some raised in some racist time, you know what I'm saying? But if you're basing this branding on just one utterance of the N-word, that's insanity, dude. This is crazy talk. Crazy. Especially all the anti-white racism that's out there. You see what I'm saying? This is nuts. Now, and you're what's the word I'm looking for? Diluting the actual fact that he probably was an ass. And then what you do if he was an ass, you say, hey, he was an ass to me, the flight attendant, and I didn't like dealing with him at all. He was a dick. It seemed like he changed his life. Now, if that's all fake, I get it. That's why I asked her. I said, do you think it's just all an act? That he, so I said, you think he changed? And she said, no. I said, really? And I don't know. I never met the man. I loved wrestling in the early 80s. I love Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I never liked Hulk Hogan. I like the Iron Sheik. I was always the anti-American guy. I like the Iron Sheik and the who was a Russian. There was a Russian guy. I forgot who it was. And then remember Sergeant Slaughter. Remember he became a dude. I was left wing. You don't understand how far left that was. So I did not like Hulk Hogan. By the time that Hulk Hogan became a bad guy, I was out of it. I didn't care anymore. But I love Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and I did not like Sergeant Slaughter. I love the Iron Sheik. But anyway, so wrestling was great because it's like the first thing I remember we never had a TV when I was young. We only had, when we first got our first TV, I was like 9, something like that, 8, 9. And we only had, the 3 stations, 6, 8, and 10, 6, 8, and 13 with PBS is 10. And that was it. And then all of a sudden, when I was like 13, 14 years old, we got cable and we got ESPN. So we got professional wrestling and then like minor league hockey. Oh, dude, it was the best. It was like, I remember coming home and being able to watch He-Man cartoons, wrestling, I think Australian rules football. It was like coming home from school. It was just watching cartoons during the day and He-Man. Oh, dude, it was awesome. I'll never forget that. It was heavenly. You youngins, you don't get how great it was to be able to have. And then never mind call waiting. Remember, we could have call waiting. We went from a party line to call waiting in 10 years. You talk about an increase in efficiency. It's crazy. It's crazy my life, how much I have seen change. It's amazing. And I could not be more grateful. And so if I get branded as this, that, the other because of utterances, it's just so stupid, man. Now, I would like more proof that Hulk Hogan was a racist, and I'd like more proof that he continued to be a racist, because if he didn't continue to be a racist or an ass, then I think at the end of the day, there's a lesson to be learned there that we all can change, even in the latter. We can have these deathbed experiences because of God. Because the way it's going to make me tear up. How God touches us to take away the branding, the human branding. God says, you're no longer branding this because what matters is that you came to me and apologized and you asked for forgiveness for your insanity. That's what we should take from Hulk Hogan's death, if it's true. And I don't know. I put it between God and him, but he seemed to be touting Jesus a lot in the latter part of his life. So why would you hammer on his bad things without saying, hey, he changed? Now, again, if there's evidence he didn't, I'd love to see it. I don't know. I'm not going to really belabor this too much. I don't care that much. I just want to hammer home this idea. If you're forever branded as a racist because you said one thing in a private conversation, dude, this is out of control, man. Whites need to stop this, dude. You got to stop this crap. It's, especially if you're white and saying this about another white guy, you got to stop that. And most blacks don't care. I was telling this one guy on Facebook, I said, dude, blacks don't care. You know what I'm saying? The one, they don't care. It's the liberals, the freaking Karens, the white virtue signal people, and the people they're just emotionally fragile. You know what I'm saying? They care. Why do you need it? You're not going to get a virtue signal points by calling Hulk Hogan a racist, other than among the fragile people. And you don't want to have anything to do with these people anyway. Now, again, prove me, I don't know, so I'm ignorant on this. Prove me wrong. I'd love to hear it. God bless. Remember, even if you are a dick and you've made some horrible, tremendous mistakes, and you've uttered some bad things, as we all have done, you can be forgiven, maybe not in the eyes of the culture, but certainly by good Lord upstairs, where you can still hear the only words that matter upon your demise. Well done, good and faithful servant. Let them brand you anything, but I want to be branded as a guy who said, I heard the words, well done, good, faithful servant. So on these people on this earth, they could brand you racist, homophobe, they could brand you, I don't care. That doesn't matter, because what matters is the pearly gates are opened and the good Lord himself said, well done, good and faithful servant. That's all that matters. But you have to ask for forgiveness and get on your knees and be true, because God knows your heart. All right, God bless.